Picture it. America 2020. You're walking down the street, earbuds are in. A song comes on Spotify. Suddenly, there's a spring in your step, gas in your tank, and you are feeling the fantasy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a Struttin' That Ass song. What makes a good Struttin' That Ass song? That's intensely personal. But that won't stop the great pop culture debate of trying to determine the best Struttin' That Ass song ever. First, let me introduce our panel. I made love to the camera, now I have a really weird rash. I'm your host, Eric Resniak. Supermodel of the world, Dan Howell, is here.
I am here to work and turn, hunty.
She knows how to work it and be seen. Carissa Kloss, what's wrong with being confident?
What? I think you've got me underrated.
And Kate Rakulia, do you want me to seduce you? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Girl, yeah!
Very nice.
Did it work?
I think it works. Sure, we're going to go with it. I feel like the ghost of George Michael came down and was speaking through you, so he had nothing else to do today.
No.
All right, so speaking of working, how does this work? For our mini-sodes, there is no general poll. We just ask our panelists to pick their favorites, and then we argue about them. So all four of us scoured our iTunes catalogs, and we came up with our favorite strutting songs. We then voted on each other's picks and came up with the top 16, which we added to a bracket for debate. If you want to follow along at home, you can find this bracket on greatpopculturedebate.com, along with the brackets for all of our other episodes. And if you want to listen to all of our picks, because we're far too cheap to get the rights, including the ones that didn't make this bracket, you can find a Spotify playlist with all 60 of the suggestions in the bonus material section on Great Pop Culture Debate. So let's go on to round one of the debate. 3/4 of us said amen to Lizzo's Worship, while Carissa beat her mug to Your Makeup is Terrible by Alaska, a.k.a. Alaska Thunderfuck, a.k.a. Alaska 5000. Carissa will defend her beloved Lasky, while Kate will pray at the altar of Lizzo. Carissa, why Alaska's Your Makeup is Terrible?
So, yeah, I mean, you had it when you said my beloved Lasky. Like, I fucking love Alaska. I am an Alaska stan. I have an Alaska tattoo. My roller derby name was Little Pound Cake. Like, I fucking love Alaska, okay? She's my number one. I also really love her music. I think that the drag community has given us a lot of really like fun, poppy, kind of dancey, strutting songs. And I think her first album, Anus, is full of those. But her first song,
Her anus is full.
it is. You know, anus thing is possible. And her first song was Your Makeup is Terrible. From her really hilarious line from the challenge where they had to do the perfumes, and it's just so good. Like, I know that this is a losing pick, and it's okay. But, like, I just had to just proclaim my love for Alaska and what she has given us, which includes the song is incredibly quotable, and it includes the line, "You need my ID? This face is my ID, motherfucker." Like, come on. Like, it's an amazing thing. Like, if you can ever pull that out in real life, like, that's goals.
Oh, I have. Like, I'm not even joking. I've absolutely used that line. But so I want to step back for a moment, because people who are listening to the show may have literally no idea about anything that Carissa just said. They're just like, the state? Like, what? So Alaska is a drag queen on RuPaul's Drag Race who competed on season 5 and All Stars 2, which she won. And many of the Drag Race girls have gone on to release singles of, let's say, dubious quality. But Alaska actually has had like genuinely great songs. They're not necessarily parody songs. They're actually really good club songs. But to this point, Struttin' That Ass songs, because Alaska's got really great beats and that bass, and it makes you, when you are walking down the street, and we're going to talk about this, the way that I approach the Struttin' That Ass song is, when I am walking down the street, do I get the is it propelling me forward, and am I into the groove? And Your Makeup is Terrible 100% says that. And it is a really funny song. So if you have not listened to it, go to our podcast, or excuse me, our website, listen to the bonus materials. I think you will agree with Carissa. It's a great song. But Kate's going to take us to Lizzo, which I think everyone knows.
Welcome to church. Yeah, no, Alaska is great. And I was thinking, it was you, Eric, and Carissa, and I, and Derek. I forget who else was there when we went to see in Boston one of the Drag Race tours. And it was the first time I saw Alaska perform, and it was the first time I heard Your Makeup is Terrible.
Same. And
the whole show was wonderful, and I liked Alaska very much from the show. But when she comes on to sing that song, it was like, oh, this is another level. This is a whole other level. Alaska's a star.
It's a star moment. Yep, yes. It's a star moment.
But that brings me to Lizzo. There's so many Lizzo songs that could have been in this bracket. There's so many songs that she sings that make you want to move, that make you want to celebrate and just revel in being alive and in your body. This song, I think, is a fantastic pick because it is so just unrepentantly like joyful. And speaking of, this also has a drag tie-in. Current reigning. Wait, can we give away Drag Race spoilers? Drag Race spoilers. Yeah. So in the recent Black Queer Town Hall video digital drag show, current reigning champion Jada Essence Hall did a number to this song, and it was everything. She's wearing the orange outfit that she wore in the end. It's just
with the
crown, absolutely transcendent. And when I say we, I mean white people have done nothing to deserve Lizzo. But
it's true.
But I am grateful and in awe. And it's just such a song about joy and ecstasy and excellence. I love it. Lizzo.
And getting into her. And I'm glad that America has finally gotten into Lizzo, because when she first came out with I Put My Hands Up, Toss My Hand, Baby How You Doing, Feeling Good as Hell. There we go.
Yep.
I was just like, oh, this is great. And I hope people really get into it. And it was kind of like a tepid response. And then like it really started to hit with her most recent album. And as Kate pointed out, there's like, I think someone else put another Lizzo song on their picks.
Fitness.
That was me.
Fitness.
Yeah.
Juice just narrowly missed my top 20. And you can argue recency bias is one of those things that we always struggle with on this podcast. If you listen to the Disney one, I know a lot of people are very angry that Coco made the top 4. It's very, very controversial.
It's fine.
It's fine. But I do think that Lizzo will stand the test of time as one of the artists that is a great threat that ass artist. And
she's already an icon. Like I could just like listening to Lizzo play her flute on Instagram. I want to like strut my ass. Like she's so talented and so exceptional. I just really love her.
Agree. So we still have 3-1 in favor of Lizzo. Carissa, are you going to maintain your Alaska allegiance?
I am, just because I think that someone, like I'm staking a claim here, but I'm totally fine with Lizzo going forward because I think she's incredible. And I had Fitness on my list. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to advance Lizzo's worship to round 2. Next, we were evenly split between Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus and Earth, Wind & Fire's Shining Star. I'll preach about Depeche Mode's Divine Rights, while Dan will argue why Shining Star is elemental. Dan, take it away.
All right. I mean, Shining Star, it's one of those unbelievably iconic quintessential disco tracks that even people that like kind of don't like disco still secretly love Shining Star. I feel like it's just ingrained in our culture because it's been in ads, it's been in movies, it's been on the air for like almost 50 years, which is insane. Just one of those songs. It comes on and you're like, oh, yep, this song has started. I'm good for the next 3.5 minutes. I can't do anything else because it's a mandatory dance break.
Yes.
Regardless of what you're doing. You're at work, you're doing the dishes. It doesn't matter. Shining Star is on. You're going to dance.
You're going to bop to it for sure. And this is what you have to. And this is one of the things, again, we're going to, I think, come back to over and over again, is Shining Star has a lower BPM than I think a lot of disco songs. And when I was putting together my list, there were songs in there where I was like, oh, this is absolutely going to make it. Because just from my own personal recollection, like ones that I always kind of strut that ass to. And a lot of my disco songs didn't, because I was like, but I'm not actually strutting to these as much as they're like, get me going. Shining Star you can strut to because it does have that lackadaisical, I referred to it in our communications back and forth. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It's the Goldilocks zone. And that's what Shining Star has.
It's like the greatest measure for BPM ever is the Goldilocks.
Yeah.
And you're not in a hurry. You have some place to be, but like you're just feeling yourself right where you are. That's what it is.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's true. So I agree. Shining Star is a great song. And we will get to more disco down the list. But anyone who doesn't like disco, I don't understand you. I don't understand your life choices. And I think you need to re-examine it because disco is joy. Like you put it away, whatever your like hang-ups are. And we'll get to this again later on. And I want to do a disco only podcast at some point.
Yes,
no one else seems to want to. No one else seems to want to do it.
Raising my hand.
You did not. You did not sign up for it when I called for panelists.
I'm raising my hand.
All right. I see Carissa, and I know Dan's into it.
I mean,
but I'm going to talk about Depeche Mode and Personal Jesus. So my main argument for Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus is, number one, I think New Wave is overall not that represented on this bracket, even though there's some great New Wave strutting songs. But the bass line in Personal Jesus alone should get it to advance to round two. Like that is a strut bass line. That is it itself is strutting down the musical staff lines, right? It's a great song. Depeche Mode has a bunch of great actually strutting songs, but Personal Jesus also has that, like, you're walking down this again. Picture yourself walking down that street, your headphones are on, and that like echoing, like borderline aggressive, your own personal Jesus. Like,
yeah,
it drives. It's a little bit dark. It's also kind of weirdly hopeful. Someone who cares, someone who's there. Like, I love it. Everything about this song, it just like it propels you forward. You don't even have to walk. It moves for you.
You don't have to walk.
That's why I'm saying Depeche Mode over Earth, Wind, and Fire. No disrespect to Earth, Wind, and Fire, but I'll take votes. Right, we were evenly split. So Kate, where are you coming down?
I mean, it's a little tricky because both of these songs were my picks. I love both of these songs. I have like strutted my ass all around Boston to both of these songs.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to give it to Personal Jesus because, it's just like, I listened to, I forget what it was called, but there's a compilation. It's a 2 CD. This should tell you when I was listening to it. Compilation of Depeche Mode's greatest hits that I like literally listened to my Discman for the majority of 2004, and Personal Jesus was on there. Reach out, touch faith.
Yeah, like it's so good.
It's so good.
Okay, so that's Kate's vote. Carissa.
Yes, Personal Jesus. I mean, rock is my genre of choice, and this is really like the only real rock song. I don't know. I guess we can split hairs over rock versus pop, but Personal Jesus is my favorite.
Okay. And I'm sticking with Personal Jesus, so I'm sorry, Dan. I think Earth, Wind, and Fire was extinguished.
I mean, they're both excellent songs. And listen, I love Personal Jesus. I love Depeche Mode, so I'm good with this.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to advance Personal Jesus to round 2. That's, I think, we will not be struck down at this exact moment from the heavens.
I feel like I want to make a joke about how, like, when you were listening to Depeche Mode, there's only one set of footsteps because that's when your Personal Jesus is.
On the beach.
I'm giving you the founder rag of approval.
All right. The majority of us were deeply cut by Annie Lennox's Walking on Broken Glass, while Carissa was stuck on Boogie Oogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey. Carissa, why are you blaming it on the boogie?
So this goes back. Okay, I fucking love disco, all right? Like, Carissa, in the 90s, when I was a teen, I was obsessed with the 70s. Obsessed. I had a like best of disco compilation CD, and this song was on it. I think it was probably the first track, and I was obsessed. It's such a fun little like sparkly beat in the beginning, and then once that bass kicks in, it's like a you know, and it just like it's like the right disco beat, and it's just like, we're gonna boogie oogie oogie until you just can't boogie no more. Like, what a promise, what privilege.
What a promise.
Right? It's not a threat, it's a promise.
It's a future we can all get behind.
Right?
It's true. Or in front of, depending on your preference. Right? So, thank you for that, Carissa. I'm going to explain why I'm into Annie's Hard Knock Life. So, Walking on Broken Glass, again, this is one of those songs that you don't have to do anything. It does it for you. Right from the beginning, the kind of like, it slowly goes up the piano, ding, 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 ding. That sounded more like the little things from Spaceballs than it sounded like song.
When did we get to Disneyland?
But you understand what I'm saying. But this one drives, and I guess kind of like Personal Jesus, but in a very different way, because it's also got the amazing "I am a scorned woman, I'm going to fuck some shit up," which I will always vote for every single time. So it's got a great message. You've hurt me. You've already like ruined everything, but I'm still here, right? And I'm going to show you how fucking amazing I am. And one of the other kind of, when I'm doing my Struttin' Ass song picks, is, this is super, super weird that I'm going to this reference, but work with me, people. Come with me. Sex in the City. We've all watched it, right? So there's a moment where, oh my God, why am I blanking on? Charlotte has had a miscarriage and she's completely destroyed. And she finally decides that she's leaving her home, and she goes out and she's Liz Tailoring. She puts on her sunglasses and she whips her hair back and she struts out into the streets. And that is what Walking on Broken Glass is to me as a song. It is the Charlotte is discovering her Liz Taylor power. And that's how I think about Walking on Broken Glass. I've done a terrible job defending this song, and I acknowledge that. But I think the song itself is deserving of a round 2 berth. So I will take votes now from Carissa.
I'm sticking with my disco fave, Boogie Oogie Oogie.
All right, Dan, I'm going to you.
I had Walking on Broken Glass, and I gotta stick with it because I love my girl Annie.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I can feel Kate tensing.
Prior to the recording of this, I may have offered bribes of my cat, pictures of my cat, and be all together to get people to like push this through to the bracket, because I fucking love this song so goddamn much.
Track.
And I can't wait to talk about it in the next round.
And that's why I took it in round 1, because I knew I was going to be the least passionate person to argue for it. So the fact that it made it through this round with my shitty explanation is good, because it is advancing to round 2, where I'm sure Kate can carry that water. All right,
Eric, you're the sweetest thing that I ever knew.
Everything is possible. We had another split decision between Demi Lovato's Confident and T-Rex's 20th Century Boy. Dan, why are you so sure of Confident?
So listen, again, this is one of those tracks. When it comes on, you literally have to drop whatever you're doing, unless you're driving, and get ready for all that is Demi Lovato's Confident. And I feel like it, and it's one of those songs that always feels so wrong to love, because like Demi Lovato was a Disney star, and now she's got like this empowering lady positive anthem about standing up for yourself and doing what's best for you. And I'm like, this is like awkward that I love this so much, because you had a Disney TV show. Okay, cool. But those horns start, and then they introduce that thumping bass, and it's just like, yeah, you gotta feel that fantasy. You gotta strut that song out, and it just like, it's a great track, but it also has a really good positive message hidden in there.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And I will say, yeah, Demi started out as a Disney star, but she's been killing it in the pop game
really
the last 4 years. And I was also a little bit like, no, this isn't going to happen. But she's happening. And she also has an incredible voice. Like one of the...
For sure.
really a distinct, really fantastic, almost, oh God, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but kind of Linda Ronstadt-ish for like the current generation.
Oh,
I see that. I do.
yeah, that makes sense.
I think she's amazing. But yeah, so Confident. It's a great song, and Demi Lovato has nothing but my respect. Kate, why did you find T-Rex to be dynamite?
Well, I do also really love Demi Lovato. Heart Attack is my Demi Jan.
Cool for the summer.
Oh, so good. But yeah, there's so many songs actually by Mark Bolan, T-Rex, that also like Lizzo that they just have the T-Rex sound is one of movement and like you feel it in your hips. And this one, like Personal Jesus, has an incredible riff at the beginning, which of course, because I'm thinking of Personal Jesus right now. And you have the like kind of funk thing that happens. Did you hear it? You heard it, yeah.
I heard it.
I heard it.
And it has a perfect BPM for Struttin. It has sort of like weird lyrics that people always mishear and kind of sing under their breath, just like Robin Hood. Like, but it's this incredible, like hard, heavy strut that is very like that has a glam edge to it, right? Like this song, I know this song from the soundtrack to Velvet Goldmine. Like that was where I first heard it, and it's an incredible song. I'm like I voted for this one, right? Yeah, I did, and I think while I do like Confident a lot, I do feel that the T-Rex song has longer legs, as it were, in terms of like iconic riffs, iconic sounds. I actually was doing a little research before this today. Did you guys know there was like a 2001 Levi's commercial with Brad Pitt with this song?
No,
It's like,
I believe it.
it's like the story. The story is of him. It's like a commercial with a story because it was 2000. It's him like getting out of jail, and he doesn't have like pants. So like this girl drives up in a convertible to pick him up and throws Levi's at him, and he's just like impossibly beautiful. I think it's even before Ocean's 11, and I didn't hate it.
But I just don't understand, why would you give Brad Pitt pants?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want him to remain pantsless?
Yeah, I think that commercial's backwards.
I mean, so he could take him off again? Like,
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
it is more of a Velvet Goldmine energy. That sort of like glam,
It's glam rock.
hard rock, glam rock with a queer edge. Like it just feels T-Rex to me, and I love it.
Totally. All right, so I'm going to go to the votes now. Carissa, where are you coming down on this one?
I'm still with Confident. I think it's an amazing, like, lady empowerment anthem. Like, you shouldn't have to be a shrinking violet. Don't listen to the world. Don't let it tell you that. Also, I have seen it performed by so many drag queens, and I fucking love it. It's such a good drag number.
It is a great track.
Finger snaps. It's great. You can get the little wrist, like, round thing. It's perfect. I love it.
So that's going to leave us a split decision still, and we know what happens in split decisions.
Oh boy.
Chaos.
Damn you.
Eric uses his white male privilege, and he. So you can come at me, bro. But we are advancing 20th Century Boy with nothing but respect to Demi Lovato and Confident. They are great songs. Thankfully, we're not split on the next song. 3/4 of us laced up Nancy Sinatra's "These Boots Are Made for Walkin'," while Kate took "Independent Women Part 1" by Destiny's Child extremely literally. Kate, tell me what you think about me and the song.
I mean, this is as you know, listeners, if you heard the Breakup Songs episode, Independent Women Part 1 is my favorite Destiny's Child song. It has the iconic tie-in with Charlie's Angels countdown in the beginning, Cameron D and Destiny with my
Lucy
girl Drew.
Lou and my girl Drew.
And it has like, you know, them, it's like they're in a computer generated fortress or something, and clips from the movie are playing in the background. But it is an anthem to that sort of like high kitsch idea of what Charlie's Angels is in terms of female independence. I love it. I feel like in some ways you don't get single ladies until you get independent women, right? Like there's a clear line between those two songs, and I just like, I love the breakdown, the end, child of destiny. When they like go to the bridge. It's so kitschy. And I love it. And I love These Boots Are Made for Walking, but I feel like I already like voted for that as a breakup song rather than a Struttin' That Ass song. So that was my decision.
Yeah, these were both in the breakup bracket.
They were. So Dan, you're our Nancy boy, and talk to me about Boots.
Yeah, listen. This song is so good. What I love about some of these strutting that ass songs is they literally tell you what to do. It's like, put your boots on, because we're gonna walk now. And it's implicit that like you're not gonna dance to this track. You are gonna walk. You are gonna strut. You are gonna show it all off, and like everyone's gonna be a little jealous of you. You are empowered. You are a strong, dare I say it, independent woman, and you are here to own everything. You have opulence. It's amazing. Also, I heard this song in German at the end of a play once, and it's also great in foreign languages. And I was like, this is fantastic.
What is it in German?
This song transcends language. I cannot speak a lick of German. So I'm sure I would have offended many individuals. But it's great. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, I will very happily see Boots Are Made for Walking go forward, but I have to stay true to my independent women. Part 1. What is part 2? What is part 2?
Did we ever get part 2? Does anyone know?
Ladies.
Is it
really?
Guess. I mean, it is.
No, I don't. I just said that, but it
Emotionally, single ladies.
It could be.
I like to think that the sequel is Blue Cantrell's Hit 'Em Up style. So you were independent, you got with a dude, he cheated on you, then you took all of his money.
If you're a man, gotta get buck wild.
Hit 'em up style, pop, pop, pop. That's what I'm saying. I like this journey that we're going on. So that's exciting.
I haven't thought of that song in a long time, Eric. Thank you. That's a great song.
With logic like that, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. So we still have the other three. Are you sticking with Boots Are Made for Walking? Dan, Carissa, myself.
yes, for me.
Absolutely.
All right. So sorry, Kate. Advancing was not in your destiny, child.
You mean her child of destiny?
Exactly. That was some low-hanging fruit there, kids. All right. 3/4 of us decided that George Michael's Too Funky was in fact just the right level of funky, while Dan disproved the thesis of Young MC's know-how by proving himself, well, wrong. So, Dan, why know-how?
So I love Young MC. Since the first time I heard his album, like I don't even remember how old I was. But yeah, it's just so good. It samples the theme from Shaft. Like, you can't really beat that. It's so good. Because the theme from Shaft is just a great song, period. So he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's got. It also has like some of the most killer rhymes in a song ever, because I'm pretty sure there's about 5 million words in this song. It's insane. And I feel like it's one of those like sleeper strut tracks. Like, you don't think, you're like, no, Young MC, no. But you're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, no, this is on, and I'm gonna get into this, and I'm gonna know how to do this. This is good. It is just a legendary delivery. Young MC is so good, and I think he's so overlooked. His stuff is so good.
Yeah, I mean, his rhymes really are incredible. The thing about they're nuts. And we don't have anything like that now that I'm aware of. And I'm sure someone can educate me. But like, oh God, they're so fast and they're so smart and just so good. And I'm the one who actually nominated this song from the beginning with. To me, this song is a perpetual motion machine. Like you start it and it doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. And then it's a fashion show song to me. Like, again, one of those weird things I go to when I'm thinking of Struttin' That Ass songs. Would this song play at a fashion show and people would walk to it? Yes, they would absolutely walk to Know How, and they would be strutting to this song.
Oh God!
But that said, there is no more fashion show song
I like your segue.
Too Funky by George Michael. Kate, go ahead and take it.
Oh, me? I thought you were going to take it.
No, so I'm sorry, Carissa, you're taking
yes.
it.
I got the assignment, y'all.
Yeah, I was gonna
You got the
say,
assignment.
I'm champing at the bit to talk about this one, but go ahead, Chris.
Well, Kate, would you like me to seduce you? This song is okay. So if we're talking lyrics, the song is filthy. This song is filthy. I gotta get inside of you, and I'll show you heaven if you let me. There's a thing about your fingers working overtime. I got to thinking they should be mine. I'd love to see you make it. I mean, the song, it's got that driving bass beat that makes you strut anyway, and it's got very suggestively. I don't even know if these are suggestive. These like
Just text.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're direct.
Manual. It's a manual, yeah.
and 2 more words: George Michael. I mean, he's icon.
So a little behind the scenes info for the people listening. Initially, we'd made a rule that it was only going to be one song per artist that made the list, the bracket at least. And initially, George Michael's Freedom 90 was the George Michael song that made it. And I think it had unanimous approval from everybody on this podcast. And I was like, I feel wrong about this. I feel that Too Funky needs to be the one on there because to me, Freedom 90 is amazing.
It is.
But Too Funky is the George Michael Struttin' That Ass song. So I feel as though I failed this podcast and have to remind myself after the fact because I put the Too Funky extended edition on the playlist for the panelists to listen to make their choices. And I think that was a mistake because it's actually worse than the single version. But yeah, that's so just so people know, we retconned things and put Too Funky in there, but I don't regret anything.
No, I don't either. And honestly, if I had to choose, like, what is George Michael's most iconic song, I would probably choose Freedom 90 over Faith.
Sure.
But, like, Too Funky is the ass strutting apex. It really is. It really is. And I gotta say, I love that Young MC song. It is so good. If it had been up against anything but Too Funky, I would have put it through.
That's a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup.
Yep.
And there were no bum songs on this top 16. I was very pleased with everything that made it. I'm the one who initially put Know How on there, but I'm still putting Too Funky through. So I think we do have 3 votes for Too Funky over Know How, which, sorry about it, but that's where we got to go. We were deadlocked between Supermodel by RuPaul and the Bee Gees' Staying Alive. I will turn to the left and defend Mama Ru, while Carissa can tell by the way I use my walk that I'm a woman's man with no time to talk. Literally nothing of what I just said is accurate, but she's going to stick with the Bee Gees. Look at Carissa.
So remember when I was defending Boogie Oogie Oogie and talking about how much I loved disco as a teenager? I was obsessed with Staying Alive. I watched the movie so many times. And, honestly, I don't know if I even like the movie. But I just, because it's weird, okay? It's long and it's weird. And there's the White Castle scene that you're just like, what is happening? But anyway, Staying Alive the film opens with the song. And you see Tony Montana from the boots up strutting with his pizza. And this is maybe skipping ahead to the next matchup, but talk about native New Yorker. You're like teenage Carissa. This was it. And this is it's up against another song that tells you what to do. Like, it's got instructions. I mean, not as much, but you can tell by the way I use my walk, and it gives you the beat to use that walk to. So I just all of that is just fused into my being, and it's so iconic that I have to go with this song.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. These are 2. I actually think this is the most iconic matchup because I think that Staying Alive is the Struttin' song of the 70s. I think with that, when you go to disco compilations, Staying Alive is almost always the first track. It's going to get you started.
Yep.
But Supermodel is equally as iconic for the 90s. And I will admit that, so Staying Alive is probably true. That is true for all people. For the general public, Staying Alive has that level of iconicness. Supermodel may be less iconic for the general public, but for the people on this fucking podcast, and I'm going to guess most of the people listening to this fucking podcast, Supermodel is just as iconic. And as you pointed out, it gives you instructions. Turn to the left, work it girl, give a twirl. do your thing on the runway. I defy you to have this song come on and you are not putting your hand on your hip and posing and giving it and twirling. And even if you are not a little girl from the Brewster Projects in Detroit, Michigan, who was spotted an Ebony Fashion Fair Talent Scout and your modeling career took off. I don't know how, like, and it is, I think, again, one of the all-time great fashion show songs. And the fact that a song like Drag Queen in the early 1990s became a juggernaut hit on a hip-hop label, the fact that it exists to me is magical. And it is still relevant 30 years later, whereas I would argue that Staying Alive is relevant from a nostalgic point of view. I don't think that Supermodel is nostalgic at all. I think it is still every bit as vibrant as it was back in the early 90s. So we're going to put it to a vote. Carissa, you're staying with Staying Alive.
I will, but your last argument really cuts pretty deep. And also, I had a hard time with the RuPaul songs because Sissy That Walk is my favorite RuPaul song, but also Cover Girl could have equally been applicable here. And all three of those songs give you instructions, by the way.
Always walking the children through nature.
And and I love a good drag queen song because there's a lot out there that aren't great, but there are a lot that are great. And Mama Ru totally deserves to be here. So I'm a little torn. I'm a flag in the wind. I could be blown either way.
All right. So, okay, go.
I think I have to move over to Supermodel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, because of your compelling argument. In terms of, Staying Alive makes me move, makes me want to, but there are other BG songs that I like better. And usually they're the sad ones. But Staying Alive is also kind of a sad song. But there's no other song quite like Supermodel contextually, and it's when it came out, pop culturally, in terms of a song. I feel like you can look at Staying Alive and say that captured a moment in a culture and is indicative of a particular moment in time. I feel like Supermodel predicted the future.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that.
Dan?
Yeah, so this is a tough matchup. I had a really hard time between these two because both had an impression on me at a young age. Again, as Eric said, Staying Alive is it's kind of like the gateway drug to disco for a lot of people who weren't around during disco. And I used to play my parents' LP of the Staying Alive soundtrack or Saturday Night Fever over and over in my room. And I was like, this is great. All of the disco tracks on that kind of were pretty formative for me as a little baby gay, and it was great. But then Supermodel, as I shared with the other panelists during our pre-show communications, Supermodel was a mandatory warm-up song for my cross-country team in high school because, yas, queen, it was amazing. And I would strut out on that cross-country course warming up and, no one probably should have been surprised when I came out 2 years later, but here we are. This is a tough call because they're both so good. But as Kate said, there are other BG songs I like more than Staying Alive that dig a little deeper. So I'm gonna stick with Mama Ru and Supermodel.
All right, so Supermodel's advancing, and we have one more matchup in round one. The sole New Yorker on the panel, myself, stands Native New Yorker by Odyssey, while the rest of the panel went with Janelle Monáe's Make Me Feel. Kate, why did Janelle give you the feels?
Oh, Janelle just gives everyone the feels. She's just so like Lizzo in terms of that true Black creative excellence, right? She's just out of this literal world. It's so and this song in particular is it's a perfect song. It's not too long, it's not too short, it has Prince vibes to it, and it has just such energy and fun to it. And let me say, I love Native New Yorker. That was the first time I had heard it, was when it was on the mix that you put for Spotify, and I was like,
really,
this is a great effing song. It's so good. But
it's magical.
It's truly magical. But like, make me feel, it just gets in your head. It makes you like want to like get up and the video is awesome. It makes you kind of want to like run in the club between Tessa Thompson and some dude. just makes you want to run back and forth between both of them. And you're like, why do I have to choose?
You don't have to.
You don't.
Put on your vagina pants and you go.
I mean, that is the greatest gift that Janelle Monáe ever gave us, that video for Pink. But anyway, this is a great song, and I think it's one of Janelle Monáe, kind of like the peak of her like artistry and pop cultural powers. It's awesome.
So I have complicated feelings on this. First of all, I know that Native New Yorker is not advancing, and I'm at peace with this. I love Janelle Monáe. I've loved Janelle Monáe since Tightrope, and I will be the person, I'm going to get yelled at for this, that was disappointed with this Janelle Monáe album. I was.
Wow.
I wanted more, because for me, her earlier work I thought was actually stronger. Again, Tightrope, but also Queen with her and Erykah Badu. If you want to also talk about a Struttin song by Janelle Monáe, I urge everyone to go listen to that fucking track, because it is so good. It is like feminine black energy just overwhelming you. It's so good. So don't get me wrong. I think Make Me Feel is good. It's a strong song. But because it's supposed to be a Prince influenced song and it's Janelle Monáe, I'm like, it's a 7 and I needed an 11. But that's me. That is my shit, and I stand by that. I'm going to talk about Native New Yorker for a second. And the way that I described the song to Kate was like, this song basically transforms you, when you listen to it, to a brunette woman in New York City coming out of the Union Square subway stop in like tight Jordache jeans with a purple silk blouse and some type of a great pendant around her neck and gigantic fashionable sunglasses. This song, it's like a summoning spell. You become that woman. You become, I don't know, Lindsay or Rhoda or whatever. And that, like, someone described it as magical. It literally is magic to me. It's like a spell, it's a song. And I get why it's not moving forward, but it is, to me, it brings up a specific time and a place and a person, and it perfectly encapsulates it. I just think it's wonderful. So I respect advancing Janelle. I think Janelle does need to advance from a like overarching, like, who has given us more to the Struttin' That Ass canon, Janelle. But I needed to speak on Odyssey and Native New Yorker. So is everyone else still Make Me Feel?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm comfortable with that. All right. So
Sorry, Odyssey.
Sorry, Odyssey. That is the end of round 1. We are going to take a brief break and start around our own bedrooms. You should do the same. Then we're going to come right back and we're going to cover the second half of this debate. So we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Great Pop Culture Debate episode on the best Struttin' That Ass songs. We've gone from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. I am joined again by my panelists, Dan Howell, Carissa Kloss, and Kate Rakulia. Thanks for coming back. We're going to jump right into our Elite 8s. First up, we have Worship by Lizzo versus Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode. I'm going to do around the horn real quick for votes. Carissa, where do you come down on this one?
I'm with Depeche Mode.
Dan, where are you?
I am Lizzo.
Kate, where are you?
I am Lizzo.
Okay, so we are evenly split. I'm going to go to Dan for the commentary on Lizzo.
All right. Like, as we discussed in part 1, Lizzo is just a juggernaut of talent and some fucking killer beats. This song is, again, it's one of these empowering songs from a Black female artist that feels so personal and so exuberant about who she is and why she's here. And it's one of those that just transcends everything, and everyone can relate to. And it's awesome. I mean, it's just a damn good song. All right. So Carissa, go for Personal Jesus for me.
I mean, this is really hard. We've got 2 religious seeming songs up against each other.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
How does this happen? And I'm like, the darkness of the Depeche Mode song is something that's not really seen in a lot of the rest of these picks. There's something kind of like dark and grungy about it. And that's the kind of Struttin song that I really like. Some of my picks that didn't make the bracket at all are from bands like Gossip, which do like a really kind of like garagey, grunge sort of feel song. And so that's my jam. So this is just like a personal preference thing, but like nothing against Lizzo. Like she's amazing. I saw her open for Slater-Kinney and it blew my mind. Yeah, I had no idea who she was. She passed out cookies. It was everything. And so
these cookies.
It was yeah, they threw them out. They were all pre-wrapped. It was safe.
Love it.
It was
What
great.
an icon.
Yeah. So, I got nothing bad to say about that.
So because she gives out free cookies at her event, that makes Lizzo my personal Jesus. And so you will always get me with baked goods, y'all. But since I'm one of the swing votes on this one, I think that I love Depeche Mode, and I do want to make a shout out again. The playlist we put together has all of our initial picks on it, and Carissa had some really killer, kind of garagey, kind of more alt ones. The Bikini Kill song you had on there, I was like, fuck yes, and it made me remember, like, oh shit, I love Bikini Kill songs from like back in the 90s.
And La Tigra,
yeah. So good. Yeah. So please, if you have not, go listen to that. There's so many good Struttin' That Ass songs on there. But personally, I am going to vote for Lizzo, which I think makes it 3-1 Lizzo to Depeche Mode.
Yes,
I think so. That's fine.
All right. So Lizzo advances to the final four. Next, we have Walking on Broken Glass by Annie Lennox versus 20th Century Boy by T-Rex. I'm going to go again around the horn. Carissa, which one are you voting for?
I'm going to go with T-Rex.
Dan?
I'm going with Annie Lennox.
Kate's obviously Annie Lennox. So
yes,
Kate, go first. I want to hear this because you've been revving.
This is one of it is not hyperbole for me to say this is one of like my actual favorite songs of all time. It is unbelievably catchy, just like lyric, or like on a sonic level. It's unbelievably catchy. It has all the things that I like in a pop song. It's lush. There's orchestration. There's drama. There's a story. There's a character. The video.
Very dangerous liaisons.
Very dangerous liaisons. With John Malkovich is the guy who has thrown her over, and she's stuck with what's his face, Hugh Laurie, like baby Hugh Laurie,
which is a fine consolation prize.
I know, but he's kind of a drip in the video. But like her, like I love a song that has like a real up-tempo approach to pain. Right, Walking on Broken Glass. You were the sweetest thing that I ever knew, but I don't care for sugar, honey, if I can't have you. It feels like literally walking on broken glass to be this person alive in this moment. And it's so rhapsodic and catchy, and it's a great vocal. It's an incredible vocal.
Any Annie Lennox vocal is an incredible vocal. I mean,
it's true. It's true. Right in my range. I have never sung this song for karaoke, and someday I will again when we come out of the Corona time. But we're also forgetting in the song, in the video, it is an actual like thwarp, like fan move when she like does the thump thump.
Yep.
It's just gets me in the middle of my soul. I love this song. It makes me move forward into the future.
That is amazing. And this one, like, I'm the one who suggested 20th Century Boy by T-Rex. I stand by it. I think it's a really great song.
It's a great song.
But it's hard for me to vote against Annie Lennox here because, first of all, I do want to say I always try to have a little education component for any young homosexuals out there who may be listening and are not super aware of pre-21st century pop culture. That is not a read. You guys have so much good stuff and access to so much good stuff now. I understand why maybe you aren't as aware of stuff in the past, but go and do yourself a favor and listen to Annie Lennox Diva and Annie Lennox Medusa albums, which are exactly they are gay pop culture in the 90s when gay pop culture was still very much not overt, right? And Pain through Upbeat is Annie Lennox's like her mode, right? it also has a wonderful bridge. And I do think that's another one of those like checklist things for me with Struttin' That Ass songs. You have to have a great bridge, and Walking on Broken Glass has a great bridge to that song. So 20th Century Boy, the one I'm supposed to be defending. To me,
Nailed it.
nailed it. Kate did point out that T-Rex, a lot of their music has a lot of great Struttin' That Ass thing. Whereas, you know, Annie Lennox has that pain through upbeat stuff. This is pure machismo. This is that male energy. It is all in the pelvis. It's that ripping kind of bass line to it. And I am not exactly totes mask for mask, right? But like this one, it hits me the same way that Bang a Gong hits me from T-Rex, which is a little more laid back and sultry, like, but it still takes me there. And 20th Century Boy is that, but it's amped up. It's Bang a Gong,
It's
but it's
more
on
aggressive.
crank.
Yeah.
It's aggressive. It is, I'm going out on a Saturday night and I'm feeling myself and I'm feeling good and I'm going to get fucking laid tonight. That is 20th Century Boy. And for me, that's why I put it on this list. I am very good with whatever way this one goes. I think I may have actually personally put Walking on Broken Glass advancing into the final four, but I'm confident with however way this one goes. Carissa, where are you coming down?
I'm a T-Rex. I think this is another artist where you could put so much of their catalog in this entire bracket. Like, it's so good, and I really love T-Rex. And so I mean, this is a personal preference thing. I like the more grungy, like driving bass kind of things than instead of like the tinkly, you know, pop diva stuff. I get it. I like Annie Lennox. I get it, but I'm going with Mark Bolan here.
All right. Okay, Dan, where are you coming down?
I'm sticking with Annie. It's just so good. And again, as you said, you know, it was very formative in the 90s as a young baby gay, figuring things out. Like, I got a penchant from my Annie. And I also love T-Rex, though, so this is a tough choice. But Walking on Broken Glass, man, so good.
I know.
I mean, Eric, if it sways you at all, picture, like, when did this come out? Like 93, 94?
Probably. I think it was in junior high.
Just like picture little junior high Kate, like watching VH1, because of course she watched a lot of VH1.
Of course. Yeah.
And seeing this video and being like, what is happening? Like, I'm vibing with this so hard.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love it.
So, Carissa, I hope you will forgive me, but I actually think I am going to switch my vote to Walking on Broken Glass here.
It's fine. I mean, right now our final four is two ladies versus two yet to be determined. I am 100% on board with that.
Ooh, yeah.
And it is 100% gay, which I think no matter how this comes down. Shocking. My podcast? I don't believe it. Okay. So next we have These Boots Are Made for Walkin' by Nancy Sinatra versus Too Funky by George Michael. I'm going to start with Kate. Where are you coming down on this one?
I mean, it's hard for me to say between Walking on Broken Glass and Too Funky which song, whilst watching the video on VH1, was more formative to me in 1994. This song is every word I want to say, iconic. Everything feels like not enough to describe what this song is. Like, and might be a very strange anecdote, but I just have a very clear memory of like going to the doctor, and it was just like a regular checkup. I wasn't sick. So it wasn't that I was at the doctor's, it's that I was waiting in a room all by myself for the doctor to get there, and like just obsessing about this song. like, God damn, that's a great fucking song, except I was 14 and did not even say fucking in my head. So
and then you go in to see the doctor and he does his examination. He's like, I'm sorry, Kate, but my diagnosis is you're too funky.
You're just too funky for me.
And the only prescription is more cowbell, which is prominently featured in the song.
It's such a driving, hypnotic earworm, girl. Yeah, like it just and it is filthy. Like there's no subtext.
It really
it's
is.
just
It's
text.
filthy.
The video, the Terry Bugler video, am I pronouncing his name correctly? I always see it written. Okay, is unbelievably gorgeous. absolutely fantastic. You're a model. You're Linda Evangelista. Literally. Literally.
So before we shoot our entire load on Too Funky right in this round, because I have a sneaking suspicion it might be advancing.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot it. Carissa, where are you coming down on this?
I'm still with Nancy Sinatra. I mean, this is
Are you?
It's a less than 3-minute song that is just an empowering anthem, and that beat does not stop the whole way through, and it's just like, are you ready, Boots? Start walking. You know, like I think it's an empowering anthem. It's got a Struttin beat. It's a song about walking that makes you walk. So I am going to come down with that because I don't have the formative connection to George Michael, but I mean, it's the same thing. Like, George Michael belongs here. So this is a hard one. All
right, Dan, where are you?
Yeah, agreed that this is a tough matchup again. And I brought Nancy to the table for this one. And as, someone who has been obsessed with the 60s since middle school, I got to stick with my girl, Nancy. And I'm voting for Boots Are Made for Walking.
I respect that, but that means we're back to a tie, and we all know what happens with the tie. We all know what happens.
Michael's advancing.
George Michael's advancing. I hope that our listeners understand that I'm not trying to deliberately fix this.
Sure.
But this is not a cheermocracy. This is a cheertatorship. And we're going to advance George Michael with all respect to Nancy Sinatra and Boots Were Made for Watching, which are a killer both on. And the remakes do not do any justice to the original.
No.
God, they don't even exist. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, finally, we have Supermodel by RuPaul versus Make Me Feel by Janelle Monáe. I'm going to ask Kate, where are you coming down on this one right now?
I'm Make Me Feel.
You're on Make You Feel. Okay. So, Carissa, go ahead and give your spiel.
I mean, I don't know what I'm with Make Me Feel by Janelle Monáe, and I don't know what more I can say beyond what Kate had presented previously, except I would like to bring up the tongue click part of the song. This, in addition to Struttin, this is interactive, where Demi Lovato had the finger snaps with the confident, this has kind of this I'm not going to do it because it would be terrible, but a clucking, I don't know, you can get into it, but another level deeper, which we don't get from a lot of these songs. So I think it's got bonus points.
So I'm going to let Dan go ahead and defend Supermodel, but I do want to make a rebuttal to that, because if you want to talk about an interactive song, there is no more interactive song than Supermodel. Turn to the left, work it, girl, give a twirl, turn to the right.
But that's still just body language. You can strut to make me feel, but then you start working your mouth. You got next level.
But you're making love to the camera in Supermodel.
You're
smizing. I don't know about you, but I'm using everything when I'm making love to the camera. I'm not lazy.
I don't need instructions to tell me to do that, Eric.
Oh, wow.
All right. So Dan, go ahead and argue for Supermodel.
All right. So again, this is a killer matchup. Supermodel, again, I think we talked about last time. It has stood the test of time and came out at a time when it's still mind-blowing that a drag queen had such a massive worldwide hit, that, looking back, it formed so much of gay culture now that, RuPaul really pushed drag into the mainstream culture. And this song really kicked it off. It was in commercials, it popped up in movies, it was on in the clubs, it's still on in the clubs, it's still on Drag Race. And it's one of those where you quote it and everybody knows exactly what song you're talking about, and everyone can move to this song. Again, it kind of finds that sweet spot tempo. You can sing with it. You can talk along with the song if singing isn't for you. There's something for everybody in this. And it's one hell of a jam. And again, as Eric said previously, looking back, the time this came out is crazy. That this was such a huge hit from a hip hop label is completely crazy. It's completely crazy, and it's a damn good song. They're both damn good songs, but yeah, Supermodel's pretty killer.
I will say, to me, this is not even a contest, honestly. Like, I already said my piece on Make Me Feel. It's a good song. Please don't get me wrong. Please don't send me hate mail. I love Janelle Monáe. It's a good song. Supermodel is a supernova, and so it's not even on these two are not on the same level to me. If, as I think Dan pointed out, if you say lines from Supermodel, everyone's going to know exactly what song you're talking about. Make Me Feel does not have that level of omnipresence. Does that make it a better Strut in That Ass song? No. However, I will remind my other two panelists that when we did karaoke right when I moved to Boston,
I was just going to say.
You remember, one of the homosexuals of Boston gets up at the mic and does Supermodel, and that entire bar turned into a fucking runway. So
that was literally the night that Eric and I met. It's true.
It was. It's true.
It was.
I don't know how you can sit here and make any other argument that is not a 100% vote in favor of RuPaul right now. I don't understand it, but you need to live your truth. So, again, unless someone's going to change their vote, Kate and Chris, are you steadfast in Janelle Monáe?
I gotta stick with her.
Okay. But guess what? We're at
I
another
know.
tie.
I know.
And what happens with the tie?
Damn the man, save the empire.
Damn the man. Damn the man. So,
Explain my art to you, Warren.
Exactly. I don't have to explain my picks to you, Eric.
that's right. Actually, you do, because I'm the host. Deal with it. Okay. So we have a final four of Worship by Lizzo versus Walking on Broken Glass by Annie Lennox.
Why are you trying to hurt us?
Right? Why do we always hurt the ones we love? And Too Funky by George Michael versus Supermodel by RuPaul. I think it's a great final four.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's a great 47 song playlist. Like, we're splitting hairs here, you know?
Yeah, 100.
It was great at round one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was great before round one.
Mhm. And we all struggled to come up with our picks to start with. Like, I have probably 50 songs, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The original playlist is longer than 15.
It's 5,000 songs long.
Since we're talking about the deep cuts, I just want to shout out Twin Shadow. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you listen to that song? I think it may be on the playlist. So
It
I
is.
think
It
it was
should
one
be,
of yours. Yeah. So again, check that out. So final four, first matchup, Worship versus Walking on Broken Glass. I'm going to go start with Dan. Where do you come down here?
I gotta. Oh, this is a killer choice, but I gotta go with "Worship" by Lizzo.
All right.
I gotta do it.
Carissa, where are you going?
I'm with Lizzo.
Kate?
I'm with Annie Lennox. It is in my DNA. The song is the sound of my soul.
I'm Annie Lennox as well, and I feel so. Let me say this: I feel genuinely bad. I do not enjoy the fact that I'm wielding my power like a cudgel. I would much rather convert you all to my side through argument, but this is a mini-sode and I don't have the time. But this is unfortunately where we are. It's a tie, and I don't think are either of you even open to moving on this, or are you going to stick?
I'm sticking. I'm not moving.
I mean, it's my girl.
You can wield your cis white male power, Eric.
Yeah, says the other cis white male.
I can and I will. So, Walking on Broken Glass is going to advance over Lizzo. If it was Juice by Lizzo, honestly, I think I might have had a better.
I put Lizzo on here, and it was such a hard choice between Worship and Juice.
Yep. Yeah. The juice ain't worth the squeeze if the juice don't look like this. Like, come on. All right. And then finally, we have Too Funky versus Supermodel. I'm going to start with Carissa. Where are you voting?
I'm going to go through Paul here.
Dan?
RuPaul for sure.
Kate?
Too funky.
I'm going with Too Funky.
This is the Kate and Eric show. I see how it works.
Can I try to convert you with one more appeal about Too Funky?
Are you trying to seduce me?
Yes.
Yes, I feel like Eric and I both might have some seduction techniques to use right here, but
No, I have
just
no
wanna
game. I have none.
I mean, honestly, neither do I. It's incredibly catchy, earwormy song, iconic video, all of these things. But also, as a young woman who is in ways direct and indirect, felt the world was telling her she was too smart, too tall, too weird, too clumsy. In this song, too funky is a good thing. And I put that into me, and I felt like, I'll just be too motherfucking much of everything, and I'm gonna love myself. Thank you, George Michael.
Oh, I love
amazing.
that message. I love that.
Thank you.
My argument for Too Funky is going to go, I cut you off on this before, Kate, because I assumed we were going to get to this point. The video. And
Take it away, Eric. Take it away.
Supermodel is a great video. Supermodel is a great video. Don't get me wrong. But first of all, the George Michael videos with the supermodels are iconic. They are like unimpeachable, incredible.
Art.
Yes. So this one has a couple lesser known supermodels than Freedom did. But there is a moment in this one where, to me, it is the only thing I think of when I think of this song. A baby Tyra Banks in this gigantic billowing lime green bathrobe, just working the fuck out of it on a stage. And then the motorcycle bustier moment. Like, it's too good. It was mind-blowing for a little fat teenager in Lafayette, New York, watching VH1 saying, who are these creatures? Like, and I mean, you could also make that argument for RuPaul, right? And I did when I first saw her on the B-52's Love Shack video.
Yep.
But there is a sumptuousness to this video that is just lush. And that slapping, like, on, what is it, on the 1 beat or the 2 beat with the slap with the song? It is a strut anthem, and for that reason, I'm still sticking to Funky. So, are you guys still on Team Supermodel?
Turn to the left. Yes.
Hell yeah.
And Dan, are you going to turn to the right?
Listen, you guys made great cases, but RuPaul wins the day. She's a winner, baby.
Shantae, we stay.
Oh man. So Kate, I will say that I'm actually really struggling here because I do not want every single member of the top two to have come from Eric's edict. It seems like an abuse of power on a Trumpian level. So,
I mean, didn't every single member of the top 4 come from Eric's edict?
I mean, I'm willing to make a proposition. It's more important to me to have Too Funky in the final 2 than it is to have Walking on Broken Glass in the final 2.
Okay.
Whoa.
So are you willing to recant your vote and switch it to Worship if we have a Worship versus Too Funky?
Yes, I am. What even are rules anymore?
Whoa.
I love this. This wheeling and dealing. This is what it's about, folks.
This minisode has everything.
Plot twists, time travel, funkiness.
Rigged
All right.
voting.
Rigor Morris.
Rigor Morris.
Who's Morris?
If we go back and then we switch to Worship, and I will be on the outs on Worship, and I'm fine with that. So you guys get your way for Worship in the final 2 versus Too Funky. That's a Worship versus Too Funky F2. And okay, if that's the case, Carissa, where are you coming down?
Wait, for which part? For the final winner?
Final winner. If it's Worship versus Too Funky.
I'm gonna go with Lizzo.
Dan?
Man, I'm going to go with Lizzo.
You all are crazy. You're absolutely crazy. I am questioning my decision having you on this panel.
I've had a great 2-episode run. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
It's been swell.
Black female body positive, like, anthems and, like, feminism. You can't be surprised that that's where I'm on board.
I'm not surprised by any of those things because I love all of those things too. But if we're talking about strutting that ass songs, it is not even a question which one is the better strut in that ass song. If we were talking about social messaging songs, sure. I mean, Too Funky is not a great social message song.
That's That's what I took from it, Eric.
But that is not what we're here for. We're here for a song that is going to make you strut down the street. Worship is a solid round one pick. In no way do I even think it deserves to be in the final two, and it sure as fuck does not deserve to win this. So,
Gasp.
Wow.
gasp, nothing.
I would be thrilled if either of these won, but I am voting for Too Funky.
And where are you sticking with Lizzo?
Yeah. And listen, my husband has seen me strut around our kitchen to Lizzo and Worship more times than anyone would ever want to see me strut almost any song in the world. So yeah, I mean, that song just, it gets into me. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a solid 7. I'm going to go back to that. It's a solid 7. There are much better strutting that ass songs on that album than Worship.
I mean, and I think that you can't penalize Lizzo for having too many good strutting songs. Like, I'm sorry. You can get the fuck out of here, that argument.
I'm not going to penalize Lizzo for that. I would say the same thing about George Michael, but I'm saying, like, in terms of her catalog, I wouldn't put Fitness in my top 3.
Well, we're talking about Worship, but Fitness potentially also belongs in your top 3.
Like, I would put Like a Girl and Juice as way better strutting songs than Worship, honestly. I just don't see it.
So what will we do? How will we?
This is.
We may have. So here's the thing. I'm not going to use the Eric vote to declare a winner. I refuse to do that. I refuse. I think that that's really cheap and gross. So I think we may have to have a stalemate on this one, because if you guys are not willing to budge on Worship, that's cool. But I don't think Kate and I are willing to budge on Too Funky either.
No.
It doesn't seem like it.
No. And you know what? This way, everybody wins.
Everybody wins and nobody wins.
And nobody
wins. Winning competition, it's all a part of capitalism, which I reject.
That's true.
Damn the man.
Yeah.
And I think that we should leave it up to the listeners to make their determination. So what I would say is that we're going to have to call this one a draw. And I'm going to need my panelists to really look at their lives and look at their choices. Take a moment to reflect on how we got to this point. And no, just kidding. In all seriousness, like, this is super interesting. Like, we've recorded, like, I don't know, 20 of these at this point. I feel like something like that. We've never been at a point where we are absolutely deadlocked on a finale. And I think that's kind of cool. That's what
amazing.
It is amazing. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that, have you done any other episodes where we all picked the things?
The only other one was the Crayola one.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like people had as particularly strong feelings on it. Where this is something that people really do have very strong
It's
feelings
very personal.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, if you think about criteria, we joked internally about Eric's Goldilocks BPM, that he needed for his, but, like, some of my songs are all over the place. There's some really fast stuff and there's some more, like, slow plotting stuff. Like, I think Personal Jesus is kind of like a slow strut song.
Sure.
And yeah, like, it's all over the place, and it really is personal preference.
I agree.
Yeah, because so many of these songs, I mean, realistically, these songs all have messages in them, whether they're positive or sexually driven or whatever it might be. Because again, we're all over the map here. But that was such an interesting part of choosing these songs is, tempo was, I mean, obviously part of it, but I was amazed at how much more the messaging in songs meant than just like, oh, well, it's got a great beat and you can dance to it. Because, I wasn't looking to dance to a song. I was, the idea of strutting to a song became more than just moving to it. It was like, oh, I'm strutting because this feels personal to me. So it's interesting to debate this because they are very personal songs.
They are. And I think we touched on this earlier, was that every song in this top 16 was amazing. So if I was saying anything that was in any way, not derogatory, but dismissive of any of the songs, including Worship, please know, like, every one of these songs is like an A song to me, right? Like, we are splitting hairs.
Oh, for sure.
It's like All Stars.
It's like All Stars, except for All Stars 5, because there's very clearly people who are better than others on that season. But that's
But also, we're just making up rules willy-nilly and doing whatever the fuck we want.
and in that way, it's exactly like All Stars. But seriously, like really for me, the part of these minisodes is being able to discuss topics that we couldn't do with a full
Yes,
poll.
yeah.
It would be impossible to do this. You can't do like a master list of Struttin' That Ass songs. It's impossible.
Crazy.
But
yeah.
I wanted to have a discussion about it, and we did that. So we surfaced 16 awesome Struttin' That Ass songs. We had a great discussion about it. There's like 60 other songs on the playlist for people to listen to. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a job well done.
Go forth and strut.
Go forth and strut. Exactly. And so on that note, we have a tie for the first time in great pop culture debate history.
Oh my God.
It's quite scandalous. I do want to thank my panelists, whom I have nothing but love and respect for. And I want to thank everybody for listening. And I want you to go ahead and drop a note on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com. Let us know what you think. What are your Struttin' That Ass songs? Do you think we were completely wrong by going with a tie? Do you think that we should have stuck to our guns and put through something else? Let us know, because your opinions actually do matter here. And in the meantime, I want to thank all the musical artists for putting out such amazing killer songs for us to strut that ass to, and encourage you to get out there, get on the streets, and pump it. Work it, honey. So on that note, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.